today our speaker for the day. She is not only a wonderful teacher, but a wonderful mentor to me. And I don't know anyone who can speak from more of a centered place about our topic, living connected. Please welcome Reverend Jenenne Macklin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I greet you with love and respect with all my heart. How are you? Great. I'm just looking at the technology in the room. Okay, so the book for this month is The Vortex, and I just love Esther J. Hicks' work. And the whole book is about relationships. If you haven't gotten it, pick it up. It's really a wonderful book, and she's a sweetheart. It talks about all relationships with parents, siblings, children, exes, co-workers, families, friends, yourself. But it does identify the most significant relationship that we must pay attention to, and that's our relationship with the source. However you define that, your relationship with God, your relationship with Christ consciousness, that is your most significant and most important relationship, because that relationship ultimately becomes the foundation for all your other relationships. One of the most interesting things about who we are on this planet is remembering just that, who we are on this planet. Remembering that what we see in our physicality is just a small glimpse of who we really are. And because of this physicality, sometimes it becomes a distraction for who we really are. And we have a tendency to see Jimmy over there and think he's separate, or see someone else over there and think we're separate, and we perceive ourselves as separate from each other and from everything. And the only thing about that is if we have that perception about ourselves, about each other, it would make me wonder what's the perception that you have about yourself and God, your source, that presence. As the song said, walking with you, talking with you, being there with you, listening, an exchange happening between you and your source, exchange happening between you and the presence. There's also you that's bigger than that you that's here, that is embodied in this body, but even bigger than that. Jesus said, greater is he that is within me than he that is in the world. Remember that? Greater within me than what's in the world. He used to always walk around like this, my friend. But he is, I guess. Jesus used to always walk around and say, when you see me, I was there 2,000 years ago. When you see me, you see he who sent me. And I realized how come he could make that connection, because he lived connected to that presence. And when you live connected to that presence, there's no separation. When you see me, you see God, because God is the creator of me. It is the energy that's imbibing me. It's what's animating my body. It's the essence of who and what I am. So without that connection, I don't exist. Without that connection, I don't exist. So the whole book and the whole issue that I'm being called to talk to you about, whether loudly, I guess, is that you are connected to this presence, and for us to live from that connection. See, when we're feeling worried, when we're feeling sad, when we're thinking, how am I going to pay my bills? Is my marriage going to work out? What about my health? You know, diabetes, heart disease, AIDS, molestation, rape, all the different things that come. You know, the wars in the world, the political corruption, that thing they call the recession. When we're thinking about all that, and we're allowing that to have such a dominant presence in our awareness, oftentimes, if you could take a moment and just pause, what you'll find is that you've forgotten your connection to the larger source. You've forgotten your connection. You've forgotten that there's an extension, and what you're feeling and thinking is that you're separate from it. That it's not, God's not walking with you. God's not talking with you. God's not hearing you. God's not responding to you. But that's that smaller part. That's the ego part. That's the smaller part of you that moves into fear, into worry, into doubt. And so much of what we want to do is remember that we are an extension, that there's a greater aspect within us, and to be connected and live from that in our day-to-day interactions, in our thoughts, in what we think, in how we do, the decisions that we make. Now, the reason why that's so important is this larger aspect of us, that which we were before we were born, that still continued to be part of us when we came into expression as being born through our mothers into physicality. It knows how magnificent we are. It knows the value of diversity. It knows expansion. It knows how to guide us to and get us to our heart's desires. It knows joyful experiences. It knows that we live in a vibrational environment. And it knows that what we consciously think about and put our attention on is ultimately how we participate in the creation process. And it knows that we are undeniably, unwaveringly loved, just as we are. So when we stay connected to that, when we stay anchored in that, that's what then stands in the face of fear with faith. That what then stands with joy in the face of happiness, lasting joy. That is what is the peace in the midst of the storm and the challenges and the changes that seem to be unfolding. That is the love that washes through us and flows through us all the time. It's when we're connected to that aspect of us. There's only so much that our physicality can do. It's not enough for us to be on this planet and only be aligned with our physicality, with our five senses. We must be willing to open up to embrace the fact that, yeah, there is a sixth sense, if that's what you want to call it, but there's a larger aspect to us. All the time. Always available to us all the time. That we can tap into and allow that to be what guides us. So that when you're in those moments and you're finding yourself in fear, you just want to pause for a moment and you say, you know, I forgot something. Really, I forgot a part of me. I forgot that there's a part of me that is an extension of that which is infinite in the universe. I forgot that there's a part of me that knows the answer to this situation, that has the solution, that has the guidance, that offers me the love, that gives me the comfort, that'll bring me the joy, that'll offer me the wholeness that I already am. I forgot that. So for this moment, I'm going to pause. Before I do my spiral dance into fear and call everybody and talk to everybody and yell and scream and do the things we do, I'm just going to pause for a moment and move into an awareness of that connection. And let's see what happens when I do that. Now, how do you do that? It varies for everybody. Some may sing. That song moved you. Took you back to a place of remembrance that there is a presence that walks with me and talks with me. Am I willing to listen? Am I willing to allow it to have some way and sway in my life and my affairs? Talking all the time, the presence is, to each of us, offering us information and guidance and directions and solutions. It's about us allowing that, really trusting that, stepping into that, or continuing to have the, this isn't working, that isn't working, so that we continue to stay the way we are and keep saying what's not working and what's not working and what's working. Or some people pray. But be mindful in your prayer that you're not reaching for something outside of you. In your prayer, you are connecting to that which is within you. You're connecting within you. What's already there within you. There's no need to beg, there's no need to plead, there's no need to bargain, there's no need to negotiate. The presence already knows. It's just been waiting for you to show up to the party. I've been here waiting on you to remember. Because the connection's always there. Always remember this too. The connection's not broken, it's always there. It's just remembering that it's there. And when we remember, it's on. Are some of us meditating? We're meditating to become aware of this connection, become aware of this oneness, to remember who it is that we really are. So when we're talking about remembering who you are, it's remembering not just the physicality, but remembering all of who you are, within and without. That there's the physical part of you, and moving into alignment with that, but also be willing to be in alignment with the non-physical part of you. The spirit, some call it. Some call it the inner being. Some call it Christ consciousness. Some just call it consciousness. But to know it is who you are as well. It really is the greater part of who you are. That's where your love comes from. That's where your compassion comes from. That's where your understanding and your wisdom. That's where your patience comes from. See, when we're over here in your physicality on the human side, we have a tendency, some of us, to move toward impatience. But the patience of Job, when you take a deep breath, is within that connectedness to that larger aspect of yourself. See, in the meditation this morning, what I saw was, it's like if you're on a stage and there's a huge curtain, and when the person comes out for the play, they step out and they're all there, they're fully present. And it feels like, okay, that's all of who they are. But that's not the way it was for us. We were in consciousness. We were there, this wonderful, magnificent energy and being. And there's a veil here, very thin veil here, if that. And we moved from that to be born and came to physicality. We moved into that. Everything came with us. We are an extension of that consciousness. So when Jesus said, the things I've done, you can do too, he wasn't playing. The things I've done, you can do too, when you're connected to that power and that presence. And it's simply about remembering it. Setting the intention for yourself in your prayer, in your meditation, if you're chanting, if you're singing, to set the intention as you go through your days. I want to be in awareness of my connection to all that I am. To set that intention as you move through your days, as you move through your experiences, as you move through your challenges, more and more and more. Because if you take a glimpse of your daily lives, you'll find that your physicality gets quite a bit of attention. And it's constantly pulling on you and pulling you, and it's really pulling you away from and avoiding the within. I think I've said this before. I haven't seen a commercial on TV yet that says it's time for you to turn your TV off and turn within. There's nothing near that you're offering in TV. Why are you looking at it? There's nothing on the cable channel that says to you it's time for you to turn your cable off and turn within and sit in the stillness. On the internet, not saying it to you. You have to be the one that deliberately understands the significance of what it means for your life. For what you want to create, for what you want to manifest, for how you want to be and how you want to live your life, and make the conscious, deliberate choice to say to yourself, it's time for you to turn off my TV, computer, iPad, iPhone, what else? iPod, what else? TV, BlackBerry, and be still for a moment and sit in the most powerful vortex that there is in the universe. And play with that in my awareness. And when you get up, you don't say, okay, now I'm done, I'm going to work. No, it's all moving through you and with you. It's all simply about being aware. Just be aware. Walks with you, talks with you, speaks through you, to you, flowing through you. Just think of this energy that's truly animating your being and moving you everywhere you go, in every situation that you're in. That's always available. When we're aware of that and we really think of who we really are, there is no reason for any long period of time for us to feel alone. Because we're not alone. To feel sad, because there's no need for sadness. To think that lack or limitation has to reign in our lives? No. There's abundance and prosperity available to us when we allow ourselves to embrace all of who we are, not just this fragmented physical piece of us. It's here to serve a certain purpose, but there's a bigger piece to us. And that's what Jesus knew. That's what Jesus lived from and lived as and lived by. And I take parts of what are said, and I take it to task. You said you did it, I could do it, and I want to see if I can do it too. I want to see if I live my life, live it connected to this energy, live it connected to this presence, live it connected to this awareness of this larger dynamic aspect that is animating me, that is the very essence of my being. Will I step into an awareness of joy, of wholeness, of perfection, of peace, of abundance, of prosperity? And I tell you the answer is yes, you will. Yes, you will. Live connected. Not just to the physicality. This is nice. It serves its purpose. It reminds us of certain things. It gets us through on this planet. We couldn't be here without this kind of a suit. It's necessary. And we do want to take care of it because it does serve a purpose. But there's something bigger that's willing to move through you. There's something bigger that's willing to manifest in your life and in your affairs. There's something bigger that you are connected to but never lost connection to it. Just forgotten it. You've just forgotten it. And all you have to do is be willing to have an awareness. I need for you to understand that the whole entire universe shifts for you. You say, I have an intention, and I want to be aware of this bigger part of me, and everything goes, and it lines up for you. And as you move through your day, and you're at work, you're in the grocery store, you're different places, I'm sitting there, I want to be aware of my connection. I want to talk to me, let me feel you, give me the information, give me the direction, give me the guidance. I am going to allow this to be all of who I am. I am going to embrace all of who I am. And allow that to live through me, and that's my life. And live from that awareness. Live from that truth. Oh yeah, things will come. It won't come when you want it to come, but you'll know that it's coming, and it'll look different than what you want it to look like, but it's still going to be the essence of what you want. Yes. But when you know that you're not even alone, you're not doing it by yourself, you're not separate from anything or anyone. See, and this last thing too, you can't say, I'm connected to God, I'm all one, united with God, but I'm separate from them. You can't do that. We've done great jobs of putting labels on people and everything to make them like, you can't be there, I can't be around you. Well, no, because when you're with God, you're connected with God, you're in oneness with God, then you're with everybody and everything. Because God is everybody and everything. It's the planets. It's the galaxy. It's nature. It's those bugs, those spiders, those ants and things that bug you. It's the ocean. It's the mountains. It's the trees. It's all of that is included. You don't get to say, oh, well, the brown people, the yellow people, this people. No, it's all connected. And we are all connected. Believe this. Take a deep breath. Exhale. You're all breathing at once. Same breath. You can get breath. You got the breath. And your breath came from that person. Your breath, no. And you cut yourself, I'm gonna cut myself, but you're gonna see it's all gonna be the same blood. It's all one. It's all connected. We live connected to that larger aspect of us that is within us, imbibing us. It is the essence of who we are. And we live in the largeness of life, the infinity of life. And all things are possible when you do truly live connected to that awareness. Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.